got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
At least you remember the name of the podcast.
Of course I remember.
It's been that long that we might have forgotten the name of the podcast.
Yes, but you were supposed to say, we are the Youngs.
Oh, we're the Youngs. We are the Youngs. That hasn't changed. We are the Youngs still.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. So as you can see, we have changed our format. And we maybe look a little bit more professional with these really cool robotic arms.
They're not robotic. They just look robotic. I cannot control them mechanically.
Okay, but how dope would it be if you could, though?
I wouldn't see a need for it.
If it was like, bzz, 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 and it could like pick up my water and like give me water.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't be able to hear yourself because the mic would be picking up your water.
Okay, well.
In two ways, physically and audiologically.
Yeah, I don't think that's a word, but that's a technicality. So
I keep looking at the monitor.
Don't look at the monitor.
Sorry.
Do you need to go turn it real quick?
No, we're good. We'll do that. We're doing it.
You're looking at it still.
No, I'm literally focusing on the lens at the moment.
Discipline, Alex. Have discipline. Okay. Anyway, we're going to just talk about where we've been, why we have not done a podcast, and just to give a little life update. I will say that we are going, and I'm grinning because I'm saying this, hoping that it's true. We are going to be super serious about this podcast this year.
We have to be.
We have to be. We said the same thing about our YouTube channel, and we have actually stayed true to that.
Oh, yeah.
So we're kind of killing it over there.
We're almost to that 1,000 mark, finally.
Yeah, we're doing really good.
Yeah.
All thanks to Joe.
Joe is great. Maybe we'll have Joe on the podcast at some point.
We should have Joe on the podcast.
Show everybody who Joe is. We have a whole team now.
Yeah.
We've always had sort of a team, but...
Let's kind of fill them in on where we've been. So you can go ahead and start.
We're still shooting weddings.
Yeah.
2020, we already talked about that. We had a whole podcast about that.
We're in 2023. Let's not go back to 2 years.
With 2020 weddings, we had a lot of move to 21. But because a lot of people waited to book their weddings, 2022 was actually like the biggest year for weddings since like the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, what was that? Please cut that, Alex.
Nah.
I mean, people moved their weddings 2 years in advance. So 2022 was definitely a huge influx in weddings in general in the industry. And we still took like a lot.
Well, we didn't take a lot, actually.
Well, you're right. You're right. We did scale down, but it just, the volume was like the types of weddings that we had. And like, I don't know, everything just like was super amplified because of COVID. I think that everything just took a lot longer with editing. And
well, that was because even though we went from 40 weddings that we typically do a year, we went to 20. We had 25 last year. We had 25 weddings last year from 40, which was weird to already think about.
Yeah, so you're right. We definitely didn't do a lot of weddings. Like we did way less.
The problem with that, the way we booked them, is we still took a few doubleheader weekends, which I don't want to ever do again if we can avoid it, which we have one this year, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
And it's 2 different weddings. Doubleheaders for like the same wedding that we're doing, like welcome party, rehearsal, and then the wedding day, and then that's fine.
Yeah.
But we had several of those. Plus, we shot from like August through mid-November every single weekend.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was like you said, a lot of it was double headers, wedding Friday, wedding Saturday, or wedding Saturday, wedding Sunday, or Friday and then Sunday.
And then we had that just at least one wedding every single week for like 12 to 15 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
So then everything piled up, and you turn over one gallery, one video, then you immediately have to do the next one because it's due the next week.
Yeah.
And it's
a lot.
It's a lot. And that's on top of living life.
Yeah.
Doing other things that we've been working on.
Yeah.
And just, it's crazy. It's
so
wild.
we had to let some things go. And unfortunately the podcast was the first to go. And it was necessary.
YouTube in general.
Yeah.
Podcast and YouTube kind of took a stall because we were planning on doing this big push last year.
Yeah.
But
it was necessary because if we would have literally passed away. Like if we were trying to do all of it, like we wouldn't have made it. So something had to give. And this podcast and our YouTube channel is what gave. But this year we have got it under wraps, and which is great.
Whoop, whoop.
Because we have a team now.
Well, we had a team, but we have more of a team now.
Yeah.
Specifically for this part.
Yeah.
And it's huge. Joe is like our saving grace. He's running our
really
YouTube
is.
channel. He's doing edits for YouTube that I decide I don't have time for. He's just everything YouTube is Joe.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah. Super helpful. So also, when did we get our LLC for?
February of last year. 2022.
So this has been in the works for a long time.
But we got the LLC just to save the name.
Yeah. And then we sat on it for like a long time.
We had literally zero idea of when or how or what that looked like.
Yeah.
And they're probably wondering what exactly we're even talking about. And it is it's an LLC, so we started under business.
So we haven't like officially announced it. It has an Instagram. Some people know. And we're not trying to keep it some big secret, but we are trying to be strategic about like when we post about it and like how we're announcing it and that type of thing. So if you are a listener of our podcast, you are in our close friends apparently, and will know what we're doing.
All 6 of you.
We started a coffee company. It's called Till Death Coffee Company, and it's pretty rad.
It is. We have a roaster. Well, so let's back up.
Okay.
Way back up.
Yeah. We have wanted to do something with coffee for like ever.
We love coffee.
We love coffee.
And I think we don't hide that at all. So we go to Florida every year, and you know, St. Louis has decent coffee shops. They're good.
Yeah.
But we like finding new ones, and one of our favorite that we've been to across the country is in Florida, and it's called Craft and Common.
Yeah.
So we were sitting outside there drinking one day, and we're just like, let's just do this. Let's just make it happen. And then we just happened to come up with a name. So we got the name, we registered the LLC, and just basically sat on it. And originally the idea was to open a shop, and we
wanted to go full force with a brick and mortar.
We had no idea what we were doing. We kind of looked at places here and there, and we'd find something, but we didn't really have a game plan. And but we knew we wanted to sit on it and just eventually just do it the right way.
Yeah. Like I said, we wanted to do brick and mortar, which is like, that's the dream. That's the end goal here with this company. But it is very, very expensive.
It is.
And we are not millionaires, believe it or not. So we can't do that right now. And we decided that we're just going to start with a coffee cart.
We didn't decide that just that easily. I want to give a timeline.
Okay.
So that was in February that we did that. And we sat on it. We talked to some of our close friends about it and just kind of picked their brains. And then fast forward to October, we went to New Orleans, and then we also drove to Laurel, Mississippi.
Yeah, that's another thing, sidebar. We traveled a lot last year.
We did.
A lot. Like, where did we go? We went to New Orleans. We went to Mississippi, Florida.
No, it was Alabama, not Florida. No, we did go to Florida. Alabama
Florida,
also.
Alabama. Where else did we go?
I think that was it.
I feel like we went somewhere else. Chicago?
Was that last year? That was this year.
No, that was last year.
Okay, we went to Chicago also.
So that's 6 trips.
Technically, you went to New York.
Oh, well,
that was on the first.
This
that
year.
was on the first.
That was this year.
That was January 1st.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we traveled a lot.
So you're sidetracking.
That's okay.
Okay. So we're in Mississippi. So we go from like crazy tourist town, lots of people, to Laurel, which is small town vibes. Mm-hmm. The epitome of small town vibes.
Yeah. If you watch HGTV or like you're into like home renovation shows, there's a show called Hometown, and it's based in Laurel, Mississippi. And so that's why we took the trip to begin with, is because we took it with Alex's parents. We are a huge fan of the show. We love the show. And
the town looks awesome. It's a little small town. We love small towns. And
it's kind of like Joanna Chip vibes, but like on a way smaller scale, way more hometown feel, that type of thing. So we basically went and took this like short vacay for that.
Just to kind of see the town and like how it's apparently
developed.
And we learned a lot about how like it was a ghost town for a while, and when the show started, like people started picking up these these commercial buildings and just opening shops, and it's booming now.
Yeah, it's on the up and up for sure.
But it's still got a small town vibe. So
and also, obviously, it's going to be on the up and up because of the TV show.
Right. Naturally.
So we wanted to go to like all the public places that they did on the show, and one of them was called Bird Dog Cafe. They serve coffee, pastries, that type of thing. But it was probably some of the best coffee I have ever had. It was so good.
So it just so happens that Elliot, the guy that was on the show that also owns Bird Dog Cafe, was the guy there the first day we went. And, you know, I talk to everyone. That's just how I am.
As you can tell, Alex likes to talk, which is why they waved at me, which is why sorry, I'm getting confused. Alex likes to talk. So that's why he tells the entire story, like even down to like what the temperature was that day.
I don't remember what the temperature was that day.
I'm just giving you shit.
Anyway, so I started talking to Elliot and just about the beans they use and like the coffee, like they were selling coffee, but it wasn't Bird Dog coffee. So then we're like, okay, well, what is this? And come to find out that they use this other roaster that is next door. Not anymore, but they were next door.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So we bought some coffee and then we left.
At this point, we literally had the LLC. We didn't even have branding.
Right. We had a name.
Yeah, we had a name.
So we went back the next day to try to get, talk to Elliot a little bit more about partnerships of some kind and getting us connected with them. Just so happens when we walked in, he said, actually, the best person to talk to is sitting right over there. And the owner of the roasting company
is sitting there.
So she came over and we talked, and come to find out she
used to be
a wedding photographer. She loves coffee.
It's Kismet.
What's that? What?
Kismet.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Right?
Maybe.
Let me look it up.
You're going to look up what
Keep
it is?
going.
Okay. So we hit it off. She loved us. So got her contact, and we basically stayed in contact, and we started working with them. So we have a roaster, and we're like, well, what if we just start a retail side? And so that was the first step. And now we're like...
Destiny. Fate.
Yes.
Kismet.
There you go. You're right. It is. Anyway, long story short, long story long.
Literally.
We decided to nix the coffee shop idea, which we had already kind of done because of the money, and we're going to open a coffee cart.
Yeah. We wanted to just come up with an idea that we could just get going as soon as possible. And that I think is going to be the best way for us. So our coffee cart can be rented for literally anything, any type of event. Obviously we're in the wedding industry. So we would love to do like coffee carts at weddings, custom lattes for our couples, all that good stuff.
You forget how to talk.
I'm like,
we're not good at this. We still don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, this is the I don't know what I'm doing podcast. Okay. So yeah, and then we would love to like set up in like corporate buildings, serve coffee in the morning.
Or like conferences that happen, because it doesn't have to be weddings. Like
workshops. We just want to give you coffee. We want to serve you coffee, and we want it to be good coffee.
And it's gonna be good coffee because this coffee is real good.
Yeah. So that we've been working on that a lot. Last year and this year, branding is done. Looks super cool. So yeah.
It'll be launching very soon.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we still have to like get the website figured out, get our like bags sourced for our beans, and there's still a lot to do.
Build the cart.
Yeah. Like the actual...
There's a lot to building the cart, like the cart, the electric, the plumbing, all that stuff. And then...
It's overwhelming, to be honest.
And then the health permits.
Yeah. Honestly, we're still in the very beginning stages of it. There's still a lot that we have to do.
So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to sell coffee to people, like bags of coffee.
Yeah.
So that y'all can still enjoy our coffee. We just won't be serving it just yet.
Yeah, but soon we will.
Very soon.
That's what we've been working on as well.
That's probably one of the second biggest thing we've been working on. Still can't talk about the first one. Yeah,
if you guys are longtime listeners of our podcast, you know that we have mentioned a big project that we have been working on, and we're still working on it, y'all.
We're really close. Like
really
we're talking
close.
Weeks.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't think we still probably won't be able to announce it yet.
No. And
This is like
And dependent on how it goes, you know, we won't say anything depending
just
on how it
all the
goes.
positive vibes out
Yeah.
there, guys.
Yeah.
It's literally something we've been working on since the beginning of 2021.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming
Since
for
this
sure.
podcast started, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what we've been doing. We've been working our little bouteilles off. We've been traveling, you know, serving our couples and their families, creating wedding films, wedding galleries, trying to just be a part of our family, you know, like,
Yeah, that's the big part.
Yeah. Trying to make time for,
Speaking of travel,
our family.
literally this year, we've already been traveling a ton.
yeah, this month is nuts. So it's March. Today's March 15th.
So at the beginning of the year, you started in New York.
Yeah, I started with a bang. Me, Alex's mom, and his sister took a New York trip on January 1, literally. When we got there, let me just say this. I have never been to New York City. And what an incredible city.
They stayed in Times Square.
We stayed in Times Square. Like, I'll be honest, I thought that I was going to get overwhelmed, overstimulated. I thought it was going to be a lot. I actually did okay. Like, I did okay. It wasn't incredibly crowded. I could see how, like, in the spring and the summer, it's like absolutely insane. The concrete jungle, like, literally.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't too bad. When we got there, though, so we got to Times Square and all the confetti was literally still in the air from New Year's Eve.
Like floating
In the air. And it was magical. Like, we stood in Times Square for probably 15 minutes, just like looking up at the buildings and the sky with all the confetti just flying around. It was a once in a lifetime experience for sure.
Yeah, she sent me the video and I was like, that's
Yeah.
kind of wild.
It was insane.
So you got home. Why did you go though?
Yeah. So, God, I really don't want to get choked up.
I've gotten choked up on this podcast. You've gotten choked up on this podcast. It's nothing new.
So I worked with Alex's mom on this.
Speaking of our team,
We wanted to, I really don't want to cry.
my sister works for us, if you didn't know. She manages the studio when we're not in it. And she does a lot of back end work for us. As far as like our expense reports, the studio, she does literally almost everything with the studio.
Yeah. I mean, she even like does some errands for us sometimes, like literally personal assistant for me sometimes. So one night when Alex's mom was over, for dinner, we were just talking about like bucket list things and just random conversation. And it came up that one of Heather's bucket list items is to see the Rockettes.
She used to dance like for
She's been a dancer like her whole life.
18 years.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, how much are the tickets? Like, they can't be like that crazy. So we just looked out of curiosity and I was like, wait a minute. They're not actually as bad as what I thought. So, moral of the story is don't leave me and Tammy in a room alone because we will book a trip.
That's the second time.
This is the second time
like
it's happened.
3 months.
Yeah.
They did this with the New Orleans trip, which
I mean, we did it in like a day. Like, we booked a whole ass trip in a day.
Flights to New Orleans are like stupid cheap. Let's see what we can do. We want to go to Laurel and it's like a couple hours away.
So with the New York trip, we had the flight,
hotel, and the tickets.
I booked my flight the next day, but we booked Heather's flight, her flight, the hotel, and got the tickets in the same day. And that was at like 8:00 at night. Like, we were like, oh wait, like, let's actually do this.
And they did the same thing with the New Orleans trip, which ended up being good because we went to Laurel and got a roaster.
So Heather had no idea. We surprised her. So we went to New York, saw the Rockettes. I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm seeing the Rockettes. Tammy and Heather were like, oh my God, I'm seeing the Rockettes. I just thought it was going to be like this cute little dance show. I knew I was going to like it, but I wasn't going to be like over the moon about it.
She didn't really understand like the production level that went into the show. I guess that's true.
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect how amazing it was going to be. So I was just more excited to like eat the New York food, the New York pizza, just the vibes. Like, I was just excited about the vibes.
Get yourself a New York slice.
Yeah. I will say the Rockettes were absolutely amazing. Like,
and y'all saw the final show.
Yeah.
And coming from someone who's done like performances like at that, not that scale necessarily, but like 10 to 15 like performances.
Yeah.
The last show is always the best one because you put it all out there because it's the last one. So you want to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
So they probably saw the best show that the Rockettes had this season.
It was incredible. I've been to Disney World, and I feel like when people, you know, compare stuff on a production scale, like Disney World is phenomenal. Obviously, it's Disney World. So really, I can't compare it to anything else other than that. And I would say it was almost a little bit better. Like it was incredible. The stage was moving, the orchestra like was moving up and down and all around the stage. They had live animals, like camels, guys, like live big ass camels. It was, and like other animals, and like I can't even explain everything that they did. Also, just the sheer fact of like how incredibly talented these dancers are, how on point they are, the timing and like the lighting production has to be like down to like the millisecond perfect with everything. It was absolutely incredible.
So you liked it?
I liked it a lot. We came back and we were like, we have to take Alex and Bob. Like, you guys have to go see it.
We want to go to New York anyway because Dad hasn't been back to New York since 9/11.
Yeah.
And so it's a trip that we kind of want to take him to just for that alone.
Yeah, there's still a lot that we did not do. We were only there for like
a day and a half. So we didn't see, like, we saw the Brooklyn Bridge when we flew in. We saw the Statue of Liberty when we flew in, but like we didn't actually. You went through Central Park.
Yeah, we did go through Central Park, which was awesome. But we didn't do all like the other major stuff. So there's still so much to New York that I really want to see.
We need to go and see if we can find Jake Peralta at the 99th precinct.
He's not real. I mean, Andy Samberg is real, but Jake Peralta is not.
Oh yeah, he quit anyway.
9-9.
Spoiler alert.
9-9. Anyway,
so they went to New York, and then we went to, where did we go after that? February. Florida. Went to Florida.
We went to Florida. What was that?
I can't talk. We went to Florida.
Yeah.
In February.
I can't talk either. Our annual Florida trip.
Didn't we go somewhere in January? Else?
We did.
I swear we went somewhere. I'm looking at our calendar because I don't remember. This is how much we've been traveling this year.
I also cannot remember. Let's
see. We went to, my phone is blowing up. Maybe we didn't.
I thought that we did.
No?
I think you're right. It was just
We just
Florida.
had a lot going on.
Yeah.
And then in February, we went to Florida.
Yeah. And now we're in March.
We just went to,
We just went to Lake of the Ozarks.
We just went to Lake of the Ozarks for a drum gig that I had.
Yep. Next week we'll be in Mississippi for training with our coffee.
We're going back to Laurel, but we're working with our roaster.
Yep.
With our full coffee team.
Yep.
And then we go to Dallas for an engagement session after that.
Yeah. And then that's all the travel that we have until May.
Then weddings start.
Yeah. And then in May we'll be in Chicago again, which I love Chicago.
So we've talked about where we've been. What are we doing? Let's do a real quick recap of what we got this year, other than the coffee shops opening.
Okay.
Got weddings. Lots of weddings.
Oh, we are doing a lot of corporate stuff this year too.
Oh, we're diving headfirst into the corporate world.
Yeah.
I came from the corporate TV world, and I've wanted to kind of get my way back into that just on my own terms type stuff instead of working for a production company.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into that more.
So weddings, corporate, YouTube,
coffee,
podcast,
coffee, special secret project.
That's 6 things.
We're going to Chicago again.
I already said that.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And that's all for now. And you know what? In like 2 hours, we might end up having something else because that's just kind of how it rolls over here.
Yep.
It just be like that sometimes, you know?
So if you stuck with this podcast episode.
Yeah. How long
to this point? I don't even know.
I should tell you.
This says 28 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
By the time we cut out all the crap.
Yeah, we do need to wrap it up though.
It's a good length.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Oh my God. Move on. We don't want to put an E on this podcast.
I didn't say anything. Michael Scott says that all the time, and that's not got an E on it.
Michael Snot.
Michael Snot.
Michael Scott is not a good idol to look up to. That's for sure.
That is true.
So.
He has a good heart.
Yes, he does have a good heart.
Anyway, how are we closing this thing? How did we close this thing? That's how long it's been. We did an introduction of like Meet Alex and Meet Veronica was the last 2 episodes we did.
Word.
And you met us and then we disappeared.
Yeah, literally. Anyway, we just kind of wanted to share with you guys where we've been, do a pretty casual podcast. So hopefully it's not too boring for you guys. And that's it. I think, we really want to take this one seriously this year. Our setup physically, this setup that you're seeing, if you're listening, head over to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to actually see our setup. But this setup is going to hopefully make it easier for us to just come in here, get it done.
That's the biggest challenge we had was the setup and everything. And the way we have this set up, and I got to finish it still, but I should be able to just turn stuff on, set up the camera, and go. Oh,
I did want to mention that, the last several podcasts, I would say almost all of the podcasts are pretty business oriented, like self-employment, just that type of vibe. Mm-hmm. We decided that we want to keep it like an everything vibe, and hopefully y'all like that. So we are going to literally talk about everything, from nonsense, because let's just be honest, most of everything that we talk about, we somehow squeeze nonsense into everything.
Just because I am nonsense.
This is true. So we're going to talk about like literally life, and business stuff still, because that's what we do.
I mean, life and business in our mind are
one and the same.
The same.
Were you going to say that?
I was.
Soulmates. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully you guys like that. We're going to switch it up. It's kind of almost like a rebrand, except we're not actually rebranding. It's just going to be a different vibe over here.
We just rotated the camera and are sitting at a table now. And
now we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff instead of just business
all
stuff.
the things.
Yeah.
And we're going to try having more guests on.
Yeah.
We will be having a guest
soon. Yeah.
I think this episode after this is going to be a guest episode.
Yeah. So that'll be good. But okay, that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening.
Yeah.
Subscribe. I'm looking at the monitor again. Stupid Alex.
Alex, you're not stupid. Don't call yourself stupid.
Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we want to keep growing that. And we have a lot of other content on there that's not just the podcast. A lot of shorter content too.
If you like visual podcasts, we have it there. If you like audible podcasts, we have it on Apple Podcasts.
I think you can do audio on YouTube now too, so I might add that also.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, okay. Thanks for sticking with us, y'all. I hope we actually made it interesting, but we will catch you
The next one will be interesting.
You're right. The next one will be interesting. Okay. All right, y'all. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.